This year, I tried 14 pairs of cowboy boots, and in today's video, I'm going to rank them from worst to first. Let's get into it.
I'm just here to connect ya, and then I'll be on my way.
Hey everybody, my name is Jeremiah Craig. Welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, please subscribe and always like and comment down below. And if you know somebody who would like this type of content, share this video with them. It goes a long way to help me continuing what I do here on YouTube. Speaking of what I do here on YouTube, I've been making videos about cowboy boots, men's jeans, and folk music, and a bunch of other kind of stuff over the past 8 years or so. And I've been all around the country trying a whole bunch of different kinds of boots, in a whole bunch of different kinds of states, doing extended test reviews, and I've come to be very familiar with what makes a good cowboy boot and what makes a bad cowboy boot. I got over 1,000 videos here on my channel, and you could go back as far as you want. There's lots of stuff to keep you entertained and educated. So, to get into this ranking, this year I tried 14 different cowboy boots, and I have developed a ranking method with 5 categories that total up to 25 points. And I've been using this for several years now. So let's go through all those categories now before we get into the ranking so you understand the context. If you already know this, then skip ahead. I have it in the contents. The first category is a modern to traditionally made score. And the more traditionally made they are, the higher score they get out of 5. So traditionally made boots are just objectively better. And if you want to see a breakdown of that, I've made a video in the past. You can check it out at the link above or in the description. The next category is value. The qualities of the boot and how is that reflected in the price? Is it a good deal, or are the companies really boosting margins to make as much money as possible? So that's the value score. Size is the next category. In cowboy boots, it's very important to have a width size. So there are several different width sizes. There's quadruple A to quadruple E. How many width sizes does the boot come in? If it has at least 5 or more, it gets a score of 5. And if it only has 1, then it gets a score of 1. Design. How does it look? What are the design aspects of the boot? Does it look good? Does it work? If it's got like these marketing little extra add-ons to it, whether it be like a stretch thing or whatever. So what is the design? Better design, 5 points. And then there is a spiritual experience score. If you've been here for a while, the spiritual experience is just something when you put on a boot, you're like, wow. You just get this rush of energy. It's like you were touched by an angel. Oh my gosh, where'd that angel touch you, Jeremiah? No, seriously. Spiritual experience, I made a video about it in the past. If you want to learn more about that, you can check that out in the link above or in the description. It's completely subjective on my experience with the boot because it is my video and I need to share my experience. So that is my category. So with that, let's get into this ranking and start from the worst and go to the first. Actually, one more thing, because I'm sure people are going to be like, where's this brand? Where's this brand? I do have several other ranking videos in the past where if you're interested in seeing if a brand ranks in that video, please go ahead and check out those. I'll put them in a pinned comment or something. But I'm sure I'll get lots of questions about Tecovas, Chisos, and higher boots. I've ranked Tecovas and Chisos in previous videos. They rank in the middle, somewhere between 12 and 16 points out of 25. And that's exactly where they should rank. And anybody who tells you any different is lying to you or just doesn't know. And then for the higher boots, I saw them at boot school when I went to custom bootmaking school last April. And based off of what I saw, they would also rank in a similar area from 12 to 16 points, somewhere in the middle. Now that we got that out of the way, let's get into the ranking. And the worst boot that I tried this year is the Rocky waterproof boot. This boot is the epitome of everything that I hate about the cowboy boot industry today. It has a cheap fit that is all reliant on a square toe and a low instep. A lot of these square toe boots nowadays only rely on a fit at the instep, and that's what this boot does. So it has put in this little stretch thing on the side here where it's supposed to give you a little bit extra stretch so that you can get your foot in, but it doesn't really work. So I had a hell of a time getting my foot in this boot. So this is a very modern made boot. annoyingly so. The value is definitely 2. It doesn't matter what price this is, it's not worth it. You can get better fitting boots that just feel better. This feels awful. There's only 2 width sizes. There's a D and a double E. Design-wise, I'm giving it a 2 just because it doesn't work. This stretch thing on the side doesn't work, and you don't need it if you make a good cowboy boot to begin with. And spiritual experience, I hated this boot. It made me so angry every time I wore it, so it gets a 1 for the subjective spiritual experience score. Rocky waterproof boots coming in last. Coming in at number 13 is the Ferrini Bronco boot. This is another annoying boot. So let's start at the modern traditionally made. This is a score of 2. It's slightly more traditionally made than the Rocky boot with a Goodyear welt here. For the value, I think it has a very low value of around 2 based off of what you get here. It's very cheaply made. For the sizing, it has a 2, only a D and a double E width. Here we go into the cheaply made portion, the design. It has a plastic heel counter that is extremely weak, and once that cracks, these boots are no good. On the inside, the way that they put this boot together, the insole liner on the top is wrinkly, extremely annoying to wear all day long, and there's lots of composites on the inside. Just not a fun boot at all. So spiritual experience is a 1 for that reason as well, and it gets a total score of 9, which is just 1 point better than the Rocky boots. So coming in at number 13 are the Ferrini Bronco boots. Coming in at number 12 is the Rhodes Roper boot. This is the first year that I tried a Rhodes boot, and I wasn't really that impressed. For a modern traditionally made score, it has a 2, just like the Ferrini Bronco. While it does look fairly traditionally made on the outside, once you take that insole out, you can see a cardboard footbed. There's lots of modern made aspects to this boot on the inside, so I had to give it a 2. Value, I'm giving it a 3 just because it is priced in the low 200s. So for what you get, it's an okay value. Size-wise, though, they only have 1 width, which it's not worth very much. Design, it's okay. It's a roper. I feel like they have a good cost savings method with just using a thin piece of rough out for the shaft that's unlined. So this is going to sag a lot, but that could be a good look if you're into it. For spiritual experience, they don't have my size, so I had to give this a 1. In addition to the fact that this insole that they have in here makes this feel much smaller than it actually is. So I feel like they didn't incorporate that with their last. It feels very half-ass, and that's why it's coming in at number 12 with 10 points. Coming in at number 11 is the Tony Lama Stegall, and this is a really nice looking bull hide boot, and on the inside, the modern traditionally made score, it comes in at a 3. It does have a hard leather insole underneath there, a cheap foam removable insert, but you know, there's plenty of things on the inside of this boot, with it being a Mexican-made Tony Lama, that just don't make them like the Tony Lamas of the past, unfortunately. So value-wise, I think it's a pretty good deal. This is a nice bull hide leather. So for the value here, you're getting a nice leather, so I'm going to give that a 3. Size-wise, they don't make as many sizes as they used to, so they're only making this boot in a D and a double E, so that gets points for 2 there. 3 points for the design. I mean, a brown bull hide boot, it's just classic. I think this is a classic-looking boot, so you know, you get 3 points for that. Spiritual experience, they don't make my size, so it gets a 2. You know, I don't feel very good in boots that they don't make my size. I am a narrow width, if I haven't talked about that yet. So if you don't have a narrow width, then you're not going to get a higher spiritual experience score. So that's the Tony Lama Stegall with 13 points, coming in at number 11. Coming in at number 10 with the exact same amount of points as the Tony Lama Stegall is the Ariat Relentless Bama Fury boot. And this has a modern to traditionally made score of 2 because when you take out this removable insert, it has a foam footbed in here, not very traditionally made at all. It also has a robust leather heel, which we'll talk about later. So only a traditionally modern made score of 2. It's definitely more modern made. The value here, though, is kind of high in my opinion, especially because at the time of this recording, they're kind of on sale in the low 200s or high 100s, which I feel like is a good deal for this boot, especially for the fact that it has B widths. So there's 3 different width sizes here. So I was able to get my true width size. For the design, I really like the black leather here. It's a distressed leather combined with the green, but it definitely loses points on this robust heel. Robust leather is like a bunch of leather dust combined with glue, similar to the way that you would make like particle board with wood. It's basically particle board with leather. So they make their heels out of that, and it oftentimes is a much different color than what natural leather looks like. So you get one shade of brown, another shade of brown, and then black and green. So it just doesn't look good on the eye with this heel, but if you can look past the heel, it looks pretty good. So I had to give it a 3, and then for spiritual experience, it's got a 2. I'm never excited to wear this boot. It's a very average Mexican-made Ariat, and it's just sort of whatever for me. So this comes in at number 10. It's the Ariat Relentless Bama Fury, tied with the Tony Lama Stegall. Coming in at number 9 is another Ariat boot. This is the Ariat Futurity Relentless Buckles full quill ostrich boot in gray, and I really like this boot for what it is. Anyways, it gets a little bit higher score than the last boot on the modern traditionally made score because it has a stacked leather here, so it gets an extra point for that. Coming in at number 3, but underneath the insole it still has a foam footbed with their foam removable insole. The value here is average. A lot of Mexican-made ostrich boots are coming in at around $600, and it's just average for the value. I'm not sure if that's really worth it, but that's what the average price is on the market. Size-wise, they got B widths for this too, so it gets a 3. Design, I like the gray, right? This is a different kind of color that I'd never worn before. I like the gray and blue combination. The fact that the stacked leather heel is real leather and it matches the outsole leather here. Much better design than the Ariat Relentless Bama Fury. But the sizing can be a little bit weird. But that goes for pretty much all ostrich. I talked about this in the cutter toe ranking video. I have tried both the gray and a green Ariat Relentless Buckles full quill ostrich boot, and they feel very different. The green one was very much more snug. This one is way more loose, so that's just the quality of ostrich altogether. If you don't crimp the leather ahead of time and get all the stretch out of it, you never know what it's going to do when you stretch the leather over the last. And there will never, ever be a factory that crimps leather. So it's just kind of a disadvantage to ostrich leather, but really any leather, because if you crimp, you get all the stretch out of it. So you could run into this problem in any leather, but it is something specific to ostrich leather. So this comes in at number 9 with 15 points. Coming in at number 8, this is the Durango PRCA Collection full quill ostrich boot. Also 15 points and ties the Ariat. It is pretty much the exact same modern traditionally made score. You got composites on the inside. This doesn't have a removable insole. You got a celastic heel counter back here. So there are aspects to this that are more modern made. Value, again, it's right in the range of where most full quill ostrich boots are that are made in Mexico, around $600. It's not saying that's good or bad. It's just average. It's what it is right now. They do have several width sizes. So they have B widths, D widths, and double E's. So they get 3 points for that. Design. It's a classic brown full quill ostrich boot with a beautiful cutter toe. I like the fact that I feel a little bit closer to the ground because of the way that they designed this boot. There's no removable insole, and they kept the insole kind of thin and then beefed up the outsole with a leather midsole between the insole and the outsole. So what you lose in the insole, you gain in the midsole, but still you feel closer to the ground. And I just generally like that better than having, to stand on a cushiony pillow that feels kind of separate from the ground, right? I just feel like I have more control in a boot without a removable insole. So it gets a 3 in the spiritual experience. It feels more like a traditionally made boot, which I like, but it's not quite there. So the Durango PRCA collection coming in with 15 points, and I believe it was number 8. Coming in at number 7 are some vintage Dan Post lizard boots that I got off of shopgoodwill.com earlier this year. Lots of used boots to come in this list. I love finding slightly used boots, but lizard probably isn't the way to go if you're looking for slightly used boots. This is when Dan Post was starting to cut a lot of corners in their production. So on the inside, we have a non-removable cloth and foam insole. Not my favorite. So it comes away with a 3 score for that. Value, used boots, you get an amazing value. What you get for the price is crazy. It's incredible the quality of boot that they were making back in the day and how it far, far exceeds most of what's being made today. So value in a used boot is a 4, and the reason why it's not a 5 is because it's lizard skin. If you buy used lizard skin, just know that it's very fragile. You don't know how it was treated beforehand, and it could crack. So when I got these, I was very surprised and happy that they weren't cracked. But then I took them to a music festival. I was dancing all day in them, having a great old time, and then I noticed, they cracked. So you can see a split right here in between the tiles, and it just sort of happens, right? This happens with lizard boots, so probably not the best leather to buy secondhand. I was hoping it would be okay, but of course, not so much. Size-wise, these old Dan Posts, they came in all the sizes. Design-wise, it's a black boot. Starting in the days of machine stitching, I'm not a huge fan of this kind of stitch pattern. So it's okay, but I do like the J-toe. And spiritual experience, I really like these boots when I tried them. It got a 4. I wasn't a huge fan of the insole, and that's why it lost a point. But I was really bummed when they ended up getting cracked, but that's what happens with lizard boots. So if you're gonna buy secondhand boots and you're looking for some dress boots, try to steer clear of lizard. I learned my lesson the hard way. I already knew, but I just wanted it to be true because I wanted a nice pair of black dress boots. Turns out I got a pair anyways that you'll see later on in this list, but it definitely didn't turn out to be the Dan Post lizard boots. Still, it's enough to get them on number 7 in this list. Coming in at number 6, we're into the good territory right now with cowboy boots. This is the JW Boot Company signature line Arden 2 boot, and it features a calfskin rough out green color everywhere. Just check out these boots, and these are Mexican made in the Don Quixote factory down in Mexico. Probably the best Mexican boot factory going. They make incredible boots. So this is a traditionally made score of 5. This is a traditionally made boot through and through. That's what they do at the Don Quixote factory down there. So the value here, I think it's 5. It's a great looking boot, great quality. It fits incredibly, and size-wise, it's got B widths. You also got Ds and double E's, so it's got 3 points for that. Design, Green rough out, beautiful round toe. One of my favorite design qualities of a Don Quixote boot is like this kind of Coke bottle heel counter. It just looks great. Very narrow top if you're looking to wear more skinny, slimmer jeans. So these work great with those kinds of jeans. Spiritual Experience 5. I love wearing this boot so much. It fits perfect, feels great, breaks in incredibly. JW Boot Company signature line boots are awesome. They're tough to find though. So he's not always doing a lot of stock, but when he does do a run, it's a great boot and you should definitely check him out. So that's why JW Boot Company signature line boots come in number 6. 5 onwards all have perfect scores. And most of them are used except for this Hondo 8555. This Hondo 8555 is an awesome boot. Hondo is the best value boot that you can get in its price range. This is around mid 200s, high 200s maybe. And it is an awesome bull hide boot. So bull hide is where it's at. Love the bull hide. Coming in about 13 inches tall here. These boots are traditionally made through and through. Size-wise, they can do 5 different sizes, anything from B to double E, B, C, D, E, double E. So they get 5 points for that. It might be hard to find those sizes depending on where you look because Hondo only works with retailers. They don't sell direct to consumers. So Hondos stocked in the stores are only what the stores order. But Hondo can do all of the different widths. This is a B width here. Design-wise, brown boot, let's go. It kind of reminds me of the Justin 2222 a little bit with that dark brown bull hide. Of course, this one has a U-toe, and that classic Justin boot from The Walking Dead has an R-toe, but it does remind me of that boot quite a bit. And Spiritual Experience, this fits incredibly when you get your right width. So I got a 12.5 B on this one so I can wear thicker socks, and I've really been enjoying it. 25 points, perfect score for Hondo. And that's why they come in at number 5. We're in the top 4 now, and spoiler alert, they are all used vintage boots because those are the best boots that you can get nowadays. They don't make them like they used to, unfortunately. So keep an eye out on the secondhand marketplace for some great boots at a great price. I've done videos in the past about how you can look for slightly used boots at a great price. So if you're interested in that, go check out the videos I've done in the past so that you can find a great boot at a great price like these Cristobal Romero boots from the 80s. So Cristobal Romero is also a boot that comes from that Don Quixote factory that the JW Boot Company boot came from, except this is an older model from the 80s made by the bootmaker's line. The bootmaker was named Cristobal Romero, who, was running the factory at the time. And now the factory is called Don Quixote, and his relatives are running the show, made pretty much exactly the same after, 30, 40 years. So the fact that this is a piece of Mexican boot history, I had to scoop it up to get an experience with this boot to see how much it was similar to the newer stuff coming out of the factory. Modern, traditionally made, 5. These are beautiful, traditionally made boots. I got them on the secondhand marketplace. I believe I got these ones on eBay for around $150. Crazy good price for a slightly used boot like this. Size, they do all the sizes. They can do all of them. So 5 points there. Design-wise, 5 points, just classic brown boot. Looks exactly like the Hondos, except the grain on the bull hide isn't quite as, pebbly, but it's classic look. And Spiritual Experience 5. Love wearing these boots. The design on the toe as well is very cool. Just an awesome boot to wear, and got it for a great price. Coming in at number 4 is the vintage Cristobal Romero boots. Coming in at number 3 is that black dress boot that I sort of hinted to during the lizard boot segment. This is a Hondo 7670. This is a classic Hondo boot from the 70s or 80s, and we took a look at it just like a month or so ago, compared it to the Hondos that they're making now, like the 85-55, and they haven't changed very much at all. The only thing that has changed that we found in that video was the top stitching. And the top stitching used to be done by hand, and you can tell because of the waviness, the very imperfect lines that are stitched here, and now this top stitching is done by machine, like a CNC machine that does it automatically. So they're made exactly the same here, and I'm a huge fan of this boot. Traditionally made, 5. Value, got it on the, actually I got this boot in a trade, so 5. Size-wise, Hondo makes all the sizes, so 5. Design-wise, black boot, love it, love the imperfections in the stitching. It kind of is reminiscent of the golden age of cowboy boots when all this stuff was being made by hand. Spiritual experience, these boots feel incredible. Love a good fitting Hondo boot. This is a dress boot, and the ostrich leather is just so supple and incredible. Gotta love it. Hondo 7670 from the 80s, coming in at number 3. Coming in at number 2 are some vintage Justins from the 70s. This is an elephant leather cowboy boot from the 70s. Got this one from Cecil Boot Co. He does a lot of rare vintage leather cowboy boots. Some of them are pre-ban. Elephant can still be used for cowboy boots, but this is just classic. I mean, just check out the top, just a vintage style there. Beautiful J-toe, awesome looking heel, so comfortable. This boot is classic. And that elephant leather, very, very durable, one of the toughest leathers going that you can get for cowboy boots. And the fact that this is, already broken in is amazing, because they say that elephant leather doesn't break in, it breaks you. So it's nice to already have somebody who was broken break in these boots. I don't have to be broken to wear these boots. I've broken in elephant leather before, and it is not fun. So these are already broken in, and it's beautiful. Traditionally made, 5. This is when Justin was making boots the right way. Value, 5. Telling you guys, the best value boots are slightly used boots. Size, they were making all the sizes back then. Unfortunately, they don't do that anymore. Design, look at how beautiful this elephant leather boot is. Awesome J-toe there. The top just looks incredible. The heel, great design to this boot, and spiritual experience, 5. I feel like a badass when I'm wearing this boot. It's so classic, and so many of these boots in the top of this list are reminiscent of the golden age of cowboy boots. So that's why this Justin 9035 elephant boot from Cecil Boot Co. comes in at number 2. And coming in at number 1 is a Cowtown pre-ban whale boot. That's right, whale leather. Check it out. This is from the 60s, I believe, the late 60s. Because whale became illegal to use for anything in the early 70s. You could tell that it's whale by the little perforations in the leather. It's also super thick. This is crazy thick. They say it's like 100 times thicker than land mammals. It definitely feels thicker than elephant leather, just side by side with that. So I am so glad that these are already broken in too. Because it's it feels like it would be a pain in the ass to try to break in. So modern traditionally made score, this has got a 5. Traditionally made boots made in the 60s, 70s, and 80s just were made right. All the companies were making them exactly the same way, and they were making them traditional. There was only one way to make a cowboy boot back then. Value, telling you guys, secondhand boots is the way to go. Size, Cowtown was making all the sizes. This is my size of a 12B. Design, very simple design, brown boot, but man, what good use of the whale leather back then. This looks so good. Spiritual experience, when I when I wear these boots, I feel like I'm stepping back in time, and it's a very special feeling that I very rarely feel when I'm wearing boots, and that's saying something. So, perfect scores for the top 5 boots, and it all ends with this whale boot from Cowtown. So that's my cowboy boot ranking for 2025. Each one of these boots, most of them have their own video, and I've linked them up in the description if you want to dive deeper into the qualities of each. Thank you so much for watching today. If you made it this far, please subscribe. Love you guys so much, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace. Have a good one. Worst to first, 20 and 25. Used boots are the best. Are you really surprised? Thank you so much for watching today. Why don't you check out this jeans list that I did this year? Or I got a music video down here I think you might enjoy. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next time. Peace. Have a good one.